Listen, we went off the air on Friday. Micah Parsons decided to demand a trade and basically said he doesn't want to play for the Dallas Cowboys anymore. And it's a shame because he grew up watching the team in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and that's all he wants to do is sack people for the Dallas Cowboys, and that he wanted a contract last year. And Dallas is his agent was like, let's wait. And he's like, no, let's not wait. I don't want to wait. And now yada, yada, yada. He now wants out because he wants a new contract now. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's not going to play on that. Everybody knows he's not going to play on that. Everybody knows Dallas is going to sign him at some point. They have to. They're not going to trade him. He's basically untradeable at age 26. There's only two people on planet Earth that's ever played in the National Football League, or used to be on planet Earth, pardon me, for artfully basically saying two people in the history of the National Football League who started their career with at least a dozen sacks in his first 4 seasons of being an NFL player. One of them is Reggie White. The other one is Micah Parsons. We don't really need to go too deep into how damn good he is. Wow. But he basically said he and Jerry Jones agreed to a handshake agreement. And then he said, I want to talk to my agent. And then the Joneses ghosted his agent. And he laid it all in the lap of the Joneses. Now, I will also say this. After, going all in on this subject matter on Friday, just talking to a lot of people around the league, there are some in the Dallas organization, if you speak to them, potentially, I guess, off the record, they want to do a deal with Micah last year. They are pushing back on what Micah's timeline of events, certainly in terms of last year, was. And they've been wanting to do a deal with Micah, and assumed that some sort of handshake agreement between Jerry Jones and Micah was at least the start of something, if not the end of something. And now here we are, and it's a holy heck of a mess. So Jerry Jones over the weekend was speaking because Micah, and this is no surprise, Micah Parsons did not leave camp. If he leaves camp, that now puts the ball in the Cowboys' court to basically say to him, if you don't come back in 5 days, we can basically send you home for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. So to say, I don't want to be here anymore, but I need to stay here, makes complete sense for him to do that. He showed up, because again, everything's a visual these days. He showed up for the first time all training camp without wearing his uniform, without wearing anything. He's just dressed in blues. That's it. There's no marks, there's no logos, there's no nothing. He's just out there, supposedly with a back injury and things of that nature. We all know what's happening here. He wants his money. We all know Dallas is going to give him his money. We also know, trading him right now is just not going to happen. He is under contract, which is what Jerry Jones is reminding everybody every single time he's in front of a microphone. And he also is reminding everybody that he's not afraid to pay his players, because just look at his quarterback and his wide receiver, two guys that he was in the midst of all of this last year. Again, this is one big Mad Lib. Just change the proper names and the positions. And last year it was Dak and CD. This year it's Micah. So Jerry, when he spoke to the throng of interested reporters over the weekend, basically told everyone, business as usual. And TJ, you should be able to sleep better than you potentially did all weekend long.
Thank God.
It seems like that we forget that it's been less than a year. And I paid the highest been paid in the NFL to Dak, and I paid a big price for Lamb. And anybody that says I'm not interested in financially rewarding my players hadn't been looking at the tea leaves. And so there's always negotiation, and the negotiation is to put the best team on the field. Frankly, I could be any place in the world. And I want to be right here. I want to be right here with camp. I enjoy these players. I enjoy Micah. But as always, in any relationships, there are different moods at different times of your relationship. That's what it is. Don't lose any sleep over it.
So just to be
That's
clear,
one thing I would say to our fans. Don't lose any sleep over it.
Don't lose any sleep over it.
Good.
Okay. Hey, I could be on my yacht off of Santorini right now, and I'm standing here in Oxnard talking about this again.
I could be anywhere,
Don't lose any sleep over it, meaning this is business. He's viewing this as business. Business as usual.
And keep your emotions out of it is what he's trying to say.
Well, no, it's clearly emotional. There's some emotion here. There always is an emotion when a negotiation, in his mind, gets tough. And you've got to show some tough love. And then, of course, you have to follow along his streams of consciousness here and pick and choose as to what is passive aggressive and what is just aggressive, or what is just him being him, right? He was asked if he was surprised by the trade demand.
Did the request take you by surprise?
Again, no, that's negotiation. I've heard that so many times in my 30 years in the NFL about from not just players but agents, and of course we all understand contracts. We're under contract. That's what we're doing. We're looking at adjusting the contract, but we're under contract, and we're in camp, and that's the way the rules are set up. But that is old stuff, 30 years of old stuff. This some of these issues we're hearing about trading, hurt backs, all that kind of stuff.
Trading, as in the rumors of them trading him, or hurt backs, like that's why he's not out there because of a hurt back. My back.
30 years, he's cutting some years off of his time, isn't he, though?
They're not trading him. It's just the only question is like, does the bad feelings and the fact that he isn't talking to Micah, he did actually say that he's not talking directly to him just yet, and you'll hear that, I believe. Also just said in terms of the status of the relationship, it is what it is. Again, Lamar said, I want out. He's still with the Ravens, paid one of the best in the league, won an MVP with the team after saying he didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah, this doesn't feel like the same.
Okay, hold on a minute. Myles Garrett just looked right at us at the Super Bowl. Okay? Before there was Seth Rollins, there was Myles Garrett. In terms of throwing us coming on the Rich Eisen, yes, coming on the Rich Eisen show and saying something that eventually did not turn out to be the case, which is, I'm not playing anymore. It doesn't matter the amount of money that's put in there anymore. I'm not playing anymore for the Cleveland Browns. It's not happening. So there's all of that. But in the meantime, the question is can things get so off the rails? Can things get so squirrely, to use, I guess, a Jerry Jones favorite, that it could lead to the lack of a resolution? And in terms of that, it's just, why are we here? And Clarence Hill, the longest tenured beat writer, did ask Jerry Jones about everything that he came on this show, which is like, okay, so did you have a handshake agreement? And if so, what happened to that? And the minute that the handshake agreement happened, and he says, talk to my agent, you haven't done so. What's up with all of that? Like, let's get down to the nitty and the gritty here. Because Jerry's already established it's a negotiation. I'm not afraid to pay top of the market to my guys. I just did it last year. $60 million a quarterback, and CeeDee Lamb darn near reset the market. Justin Jefferson's still in front, but be that as it may, this was his answer about the handshake stuff.
The deal, the offer you had in March, the meeting of the minds, is that still on the table?
Micah took it off.
He took it off, so it's not on the table?
He took it off. No, he took it off. I'm just saying he took it off.
Okay.
Don't put an answer there, please.
Okay.
He took it off.
And because of that, that's why you're like, I don't want to negotiate with his people right now.
Well, I know that, I know I grew up when Mama wouldn't let me do something, going to Daddy, and Daddy let me do it, and going back in saying to Mama, Daddy said I could do it. That old Mama Daddy stuff, we got here doing that by nature. So we're not going to do that.
So just to describe to the radio audience here what you just heard also, like you just can't make this up on a bingo card. Like, here's Jerry Jones going to use an analogy of talking to Mommy and Daddy and playing those parents off of one another in a negotiation involving Micah Parsons while Nate Newton stands behind him. Can't make it up. That was Nate, by the way, in the background. And, you know, it's just so you just got to follow along here. Like, what do you mean? So when he took it off, do you mean he took it off the table because he then had the agent get involved? Is that the indication of he took it off the table? Or you just said, whatever we talked about, we're not doing that anymore? Because Micah said, basically, we had a talk, and I didn't think that conversation was something like negotiating binding. I didn't think it was a negotiation.
Ironclad.
Right? And so then the concept is like, why aren't you talking to the agent? And that was a direct question. Hit it.
Why would you yourself not talk to the agent?
Because the agent, when we have a problem within the team and a player, I don't ever find the agent. He's nowhere to be found. Okay? Jay-Z said that Micah would make all, not Micah, but that Dez would make all meetings. Jay-Z and I negotiated the contract. We spent hours negotiating the contract, Jay-Z. And he said, anybody in my organization is on time. He said, my office used to be on the street corner, and I've always been early. So they will be on time. I said, where did I sign? But I'm going to call you. Finally, he quit taking my call.
Well, Dez and Micah have different histories as far as...
Again, please, I'm just talking about the agent.
Yeah.
Don't take that to Micah and Dez. Just simply say that when the issues come up, the first one and the one that is there is us and the player. My experience hadn't been the agent is not the one that solves the problems you have when you're executing what you said you would do in the contract. So I like to deal directly with the player when it's of this nature.
So Jay-Z entered the chat, and then Dez tweeted out very profanely, like, "Hey, Jerry, you don't want to drag me into this. Can have story time if that's what we're doing. It's not smart to mention my name." Rock Nation then puts out a statement,
Right.
And like, so we're as far from how much are you going to pay Micah and when, and again, Jerry wasn't talking about the negotiation of the deal and saying that Jay-Z didn't have anything to do with the Dez deal. He basically said that part of the negotiation involved what happens if Dez is late to meetings. Will you be there to help me hold him to account? And Jerry's like, well, they didn't. He kind of ghosted me on that. Whether that's true or not is a different story. And again, don't compare Dez and Micah anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like it just starts churning in directions other than resolution, which is where we're going to wind up anyway. I still believe it. Call me crazy. Feel free to do so.
God bless you.
Because they have no other choice. They already have problems with the middle of their defensive line, right? Habitually, year in and year out, trying to stop the run. What are you going to just leave him at home? Because he will go home. He will not, or he'll be standing in his pajamas talking about his back on Thursday night kickoff in Philadelphia. I mean, you got Brian Schottenheimer out there. His first time, he's trying to put his stamp on things. Dak is back healthy. CeeDee Lamb's got George Pickens. You got stuff going on. The Eagles are going to be raising a banner. You're going to have Micah standing there in his pajamas because you couldn't figure this stuff out, and your mommy and daddy and Jay-Z and Dez and whatever. No, at some point, this is going to get hammered out, and hopefully the bad blood, that whatever's going on inside that organization, the way they feel towards Micah, whether he's being truthful or not about what happened in the past, what the Joneses are saying now, because it just makes no sense to say, yeah, it makes that I'm dealing with the player when it comes to disciplinary in-the-moment issues about living with each other day to day. So I'm not going to talk to the agent about the contract because that's what the agent is mostly there for. It makes zero sense.
Zero.
And what makes less than zero sense, if there's such a thing, is to not get this done with Micah Parsons. It's going to get done. Myles Garrett looked me in the eye and said, I will never play for the Cleveland Browns again. It's about winning a Super Bowl. How much?
Cha-ching.
That happened. Seth Rollins looked you guys in the face and said, my knee is busted up. I'm out for a long time. Wait a minute. Is that CM Punk in the ring?
That did happen.
I handed the man his crutches, Rich.
Can I cash in the case now? This honestly, we've been there, we've done it. It's something to talk about because it's so unlike any other situation in the NFL. But it's going to happen. It's going to get done. And I do believe he believes it's a negotiation. A number will be put on the table. At some point, they're going to have to get together, and you can sleep You'll be sleeping all right.
Good, because this weekend was rough.
I hear you. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.